In 2026, data has become the most valuable currency. Whether you're training AI models or conducting deep market analysis, acquiring large amounts of data at scale brings massive value to any company. But can you do that without getting blocked? The answer to achieving that is web scraping, using a powerful programming language like C#. While Python is a popular choice, using .NET with C# can deliver comparable or even better performance. Plus, you get the benefit of type safety, which is crucial for larger, more complex projects. I'm Reedus from Oxylabs, and in this video, we'll be looking at how to build a robust, scalable web scraper using C#. As a prerequisite, you should have the .NET framework set up on your device. To make sure, you can run this command in your terminal to check if it's installed. If you're all good there, open up a window in your preferred code editor. We'll be using VS Code for this example. Pop up a terminal and run this command to create a new project with the .NET framework. Make sure it's a console project. After that's done, we can navigate inside the folder and run these commands to install the dependencies we'll be using. We'll need HTML Agility Pack for parsing out the data we need from an HTML file, as well as CsvHelper for exporting the data later on. You can do that by running these commands. With that, the initial project for our scraper has been set up. You can run the .NET run command to make sure everything is in order. We can now start writing our scraper. At the beginning of the program.cs file, we'll need to import the namespaces we just installed, along with the system.globalization namespace for data handling. Now, let's define the URL for the website we'll be scraping. For this example, we'll use the Oxylabs scraping sandbox, which is a dummy e-commerce page designed to practice scraping. Before we go on, let's take a close look at the sandbox itself. To be able to scrape a website, the key thing is to investigate the underlying structure of the HTML for the website. To do that, open up the page in your browser, right-click on any item, and click Inspect. This should open up your browser's DevTools menu. Using this menu, you can investigate the specific items you want to scrape and see if there's anything you can use to find them within your scraper. Let's say you want to scrape the title and price of an item from this page. If we hover over these elements, we can see that each item has a product card class name. That's an easy target for selecting every product from the website. If we look closer, you'll see that the title has a title class attribute, while the price has a price wrapper class. These classes will be the targets our scraper will look for. With the structure of the website clear, we can continue by making an HTTP request to the sandbox to retrieve our HTML. To do that, you'll need to define an HTTP client and define the request to the URL like this. We then load that HTML into an HTML document from the HTML Agility Pack. This allows us to parse the document efficiently. We can then use our product card selector to find every product on the page. We'll also add a check to make sure any products were found before continuing. It's worth mentioning that the HTML Agility Pack package natively supports XPath selectors, and you would need an additional dependency to use basic CSS selectors here. As C# is an object-oriented language by nature, let's define a record for the products we're scraping. This will allow us to have a better structure within our script. We'll also define get and init properties within the record to make sure they can only be accessed and initialized. Next, we iterate over each scraped product, extract the price and title, and store them as product instances we defined earlier. If we print out the values now, you should see the list of products from the Sandbox website. What's left now is to store the data we retrieved. To do that, we'll need to initialize a writer instance, pass it to a CSV writer object, and call its writeRecords method with the scraped items that we have. If you run the script now, you should see a products.csv file appear in your directory. It should look like this. You've now got a fully functional script capable of scraping, parsing, and storing data from a website. However, most websites do offer some kind of protection against scrapers and will quickly block your IP address if you're not careful. Thankfully, there are plenty of ways to go around that. The first thing you can do is add headers to your HTTP request, which would imitate a real browser sending a request to a server. This is the first measure you should take when scraping to make your script more robust, as it's quite easy for the website to flag you as a potential scraper without them. If you're going for a larger scale, then the most fail-safe solution is definitely using a proxy when scraping. Using something like a residential proxy from Oxylabs makes it possible to have rotating IP addresses from a specific geolocation in the world. This not only makes your script robust, but can also offer you different results based on the location of the proxy for some websites. To use Oxylabs residential proxies, you'll need to get the credentials for them from your Oxylabs dashboard under the Residential Proxies tab on the left. You can go to the endpoint generator to get the full URL of the proxy endpoint for you to use. For this example, we'll use a country entry proxy with a rotating session. To include the proxy within the request, it's enough to create a new web proxy object and assign it to our request like this. Let's run the request now to make sure everything works as expected. Even though everything seems smooth at the moment, things can definitely go wrong when facing a larger scale. For example, a common error code you might receive from a server when scraping is 429, which indicates that the server has received too many requests from you. In that case, it's a good practice to handle this specific error with retries and a delay in between them. Also, it's quite likely that the structure of the page you're scraping might change over time. Make sure to add clear logging so you can react quickly in case that happens. Before we go, we'd like to remind you how important it is to scrape ethically. Try to remember these key points. Respect the website's robots.txt file if it has one. Try to keep a reasonable delay between your requests. Cache when possible to minimize the number of requests you send out. If you have any questions about web scraping, email us at support@oxylabs.io or use the live chat on our homepage. Thank you for watching and see you next time.